Welcome back to my channel, Adventures in America. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jocelyn, and for today's topic, I'm going to provide you the latest US travel restrictions. But before we get started, please like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. There are changes to the US travel restrictions for all passengers going to the US. But before I discuss the new changes, let me provide some updates regarding the federal mask mandate. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration will stop requiring passengers on airplanes, trains, and other public transportation to wear masks after a federal judge struck down the mandate earlier on April 18. U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell in Tampa, Florida, vacated the mask requirement nationwide and directed the CDC to reverse the policy put in place. Today's court decision means CDC's public transportation masking order is not in effect at this time. The CDC, or Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, posted an amended order. This is the amended order from the presidential proclamation. The CDC issued an amended order to align post-arrival public health requirements for accepted non-citizen non-immigrants with current CDC recommendations. In addition, the amended order also clarifies that parents or guardians do not need to complete an attestation on behalf of children under 2 years of age and formalizes other guidance described in technical instructions announced in frequently asked questions and in the attestation. So this amendment will become effective on April 14. In essence, here are the summary of changes. First, the new guidance reduces the number of days recommended to self-quarantine from 7 days to 5 days. Second, the new guidance also reduces the number of days recommended for isolation for people who are diagnosed with COVID-19 or have COVID symptoms from 10 days to 5 days. Also, the new order clarifies the language already on the attestation form that children under 2 years of age do not need to complete or have a parent or guardian complete on their behalf the CDC Attestation Form. The last item, the amended order also revises what is required of some people eligible for an exception to the vaccination requirement and what public health actions such as self-quarantine and testing may be required for such eligible people after arriving in the U.S. The full text to the amended order will be linked in my description in this video. All passengers to the U.S. must fill out this form. However, there are some updates, and there is now the latest version of the CDC Attestation Form, and it has an expiration date of 6/30/2022. Beginning April 14, parents or guardians of children under 2 do not need to complete the attestation on their behalf. The CDC Attestation Form is now easier to fill out. Section 1, this is for U.S. citizens and permanent residents 2 years and older. For Section 2, this is for non-U.S. citizens who are not immigrants 2 years and older. Also, let's talk about the requirement of being fully vaccinated for all non-U.S. citizens who are not immigrants. There is a definition of a fully vaccinated individual. Foreign travelers must provide official vaccination documentation, and airlines will confirm that the last dose was at least 2 weeks prior to the travel date. There are also specific information regarding official documentation. First, the personal identifiers, such as your name or date of birth, must match the personal identifiers on the travel documents. You must also name the official source and the vaccine manufacturer and the date of vaccination. You must also prove that you are fully vaccinated depending on the type of vaccine that you received, whether it is a single dose or a 2-dose series of vaccine. Also, if you received mixed vaccines, you will also be considered fully vaccinated. If not, you will be denied boarding. Now, how the 14 days are calculated. Your last dose must have been given a full 14 days before the day you board your flight to the U.S. The vaccines must be approved either by the US FDA or by the World Health Organization for emergency use. Here are the approved vaccines by the US FDA: Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Moderna. Now, here are the approved vaccines for emergency use by the World Health Organization: Pfizer or BioNTech, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Covaxin, Covishield, Sinopharm, and Sinovac. The newly approved is Covaxin. Because there are countries around the world who administered mix and match vaccines, it will also be acceptable and you will also be considered as fully vaccinated by the CDC. Now, which vaccines are not accepted in the US? First is Sputnik 5, second, Novavax, and third, Abdala, and fourth, Soberana. These are the not approved vaccines in the US. US citizens and US permanent residents are exempt from the COVID vaccine requirement. This means you are not required to present proof of vaccination. However, there are other requirements for US citizens or permanent residents. You must provide one-day negative testing or proof of recovery from COVID within 90 days of flying. You don't need to present both requirements. If you have been infected with COVID in the last 90 days, you must present proof of recovery within 90 days of flying. But my video is going to focus on the one-day negative testing. If you are a non-US citizen, you must be fully vaccinated. However, there are exemptions. Children below 18 do not need to be vaccinated. Also, if you are covered by specific exemptions. For non-US citizens, you must be fully vaccinated and you must have one-day negative test for 2 years old and above, or you must be fully vaccinated and must present proof of recovery within 90 days of flying. You must present letter and proof of COVID infection. Let's talk about the requirement of a one-day negative test. Here are the requirements. Let me repeat, all US passengers must present either a one-day testing or proof of recovery. Let me focus on the one-day testing. All air travelers, regardless of citizenship or vaccination status, will be required to show a negative pre-departure COVID-19 viral test taken the day before they board their flight to the United States. For example, a passenger whose flight to the United States is at any time on a Sunday would need to have a negative test taken at any time on Saturday. Let's talk about the one-day testing requirement or the window time to take the test. The one-day period is interpreted to be 1 day before the flight's departure. However, the CDC uses a one-day time frame instead of 24 hours to provide more flexibility to the air passenger and aircraft operator. By using a one-day window, test acceptability does not depend on the time of the flight or the time of day that the test sample was taken. What types of tests are acceptable? For example, antigen tests, are they acceptable? The answer is yes. There are several types of antigen tests. Rapid antigen test is acceptable. Also, viral antigen test. There are also other types of antigen test, and please take note of these wordings. What are the types of tests that are acceptable? Nucleic acid amplification test or NAAT. So for example, RT-PCR test is an example of a NAAT type of test. Reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, RT-PCR test. Also, there are other tests that are acceptable. So let me provide you several examples. Isothermal amplification. There are several examples such as NEAR, so please take note of the wordings: TMA, LAMP, HDA, CRISPR, or SDA. These are all acceptable tests. Let's talk about rapid tests. Rapid tests are acceptable if they are a viral test that meet the requirements. Self-tests are acceptable. You can use a self-test, sometimes referred to as a home test, that meets the following criteria. There are several criteria. The first criteria is that the test must be a SARS-CoV-2 viral test, nucleic acid amplification test, NAAT, or antigen test. So you have two options, with emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration or the relevant national authority where the test is administered. Second requirement is that the testing procedure must include a telehealth service affiliated with the manufacturer of the test that provides real-time supervision remotely through an audio and video connection. So some FDA authorized tests include a telehealth service may require a prescription. Also, the telehealth provider must confirm your identity, observe the sample collection and testing procedures, confirm the test result, and issue a report that meets the requirements of CDC's order. Airlines and other aircraft operators must be able to review and confirm your identity and the test result details. You must also be able to present the documentation of test results to U.S. officials at the port of entry and local or state health departments if requested. Let's talk about the information that must be included in the test. You can either present a paper copy or a digital copy. So it doesn't matter if it's on paper or email or a certification. First requirement, the type of test must be included, indicating it is a NAAT or antigen test. Second requirement, entity issuing the results such as a laboratory, healthcare entity, or telehealth service. So this must be indicated. The third requirement is the sample collection date. A negative test result must show the sample was taken no more than 1 day before the flight, or a positive result for documentation of recovery from COVID-19 must show the sample taken was taken within 90 days before the flight. Fourth, information must show identifiers such as your full name plus at least one other identifier such as your date of birth or passport number. And then you must also indicate the test result. Many are asking if booster shot is required to travel in the US. The answer is no. For non-US citizens who are not immigrants, booster shot is not required. Let's talk about proof of recovery from COVID within 90 days of flying as a requirement if you cannot produce negative test. Proof of recovery within 90 days of flying can be presented. People who have recovered from COVID-19 can continue to test positive for up to 3 months after infection. CDC does not recommend retesting within 3 months after a person with COVID-19 first develops symptoms of COVID-19. If you have had a positive viral test on a sample taken during the past 90 days and you have met the criteria to travel, you may travel instead with your positive viral test results and a signed letter from a licensed healthcare provider or a public health official that states you have been cleared for travel. The positive test result and letter together are referred to as document of recovery. Here are the specific requirements. First, a letter from your healthcare provider or a public health official that clears you to travel must have information that identifies you personally that matches the personal identifiers on your passport or travel documents, and the letter must be signed and dated on official letterhead that contains the name and address and phone number of the healthcare provider or public health official who signed the letter. If you recovered from COVID but you were not able to present documentation of recovery, you will need to have COVID-19 viral test result from a sample taken no more than 1 day before your flight to the US departs. Here are the forms that you needed to submit or fill out when flying to the US. To fill out the customs declaration from the airline. In addition, please submit or fill out the latest version of the CDC Attestation Form. Please also submit or fill out the U.S. Traveler Health Declaration Form, which will be supplied by airline personnel. For allowed and prohibited items, please consult the TSA website. You can also enroll for TSA pre-check for a faster screening process. If you have any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys for supporting my channel, and if you haven't liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.